Great, good to see everyone. Hope everyone is well. We're gonna get started very soon here. Just waiting about 30 seconds or so. A few pairs on watch. I'll take a look at them and we'll go from there. Okay, I'm still very interested in a couple indices, so I'm still waiting to see what will happen in this area, and then I'll go over them. I'll start with the indices as well. I think they could be something that could shape up today. So. Let's just wait and see who else will join, and then we'll get started. All right. So, yeah, I will go over those dollar pair. I will start with the indices first, though. Okay. So I'll start with the indices first, and then I'll jump into a couple currencies, and then go from there. Okay. So other than the ones that I go over in the weekly outlook, let's take a look at a few indices first. For, really the first one I want to talk about is S&P 500. I like the overall price. I like how we have been correcting in this larger kind of expanding or even call it ascending kind of structure. So we know that this is a larger correction in the making. And from the top here, we can see that there is another ascending channel pushing the price up, which is a good thing. And on the lower time frame, it looks like we have a impulsively breakout, which is kind of what I was looking for. And then was looking for a continuation correction right here. So it looks like we could be developing here. Okay, it's not complete, it's not for sure. So if you're looking for entry or something like this, you want to be careful. I personally will just wait and see if this correction will complete. I want to see if this move right now in the next few hours is it going to drop down and break out. Then I will set an entry order. I actually have an entry order set already. If I can bring it out. Something like this, I can adjust it accordingly, but I'm looking for a breakout and look for price to just take me in. That is my plan on this one. But like I said, if this continues to correct, if this doesn't bring down, then my trade's not going to get triggered. And if this continue goes up, then no trade for me, right? That is how we stay consistent and understanding risk management. Okay, so S&P 500 looks really clean to me. I like how we're at the top of the overall structure. We have lots of room to the downside. The trade is going to give you a very good risk reward. So understand that, right? There's always a tendency if you enter here, price may take you out. But I understand that. I understand the risk and reward that can be obtained from this trade. So even if this trade doesn't work out, if it pushes to the top and it forms some sort of double top, M style pattern, I'm still looking for the next sell if it developed into my favor. Okay, so let's look at a few more other indices. I like NASDAQ as well. I think NASDAQ is also looking really clean. This is a clear double top to me. So double top here, again, we see these ascending channels on the indices pretty much on all of them. So indices, we have this ascending channel pushing up, and if we look closely here, this to me is a head and shoulder. So we have this bearish breakout, head and shoulder pattern, and then we continue move down a little bit. And that's good. So we're pretty much waiting for more further continuation. This can obviously be one of them. This can be one of them, or if it pushes down more, form another one. Sure, right? So I like how the overall price. We know we're at the overall higher time frame. Top of the overall price action. It's very clear. So double top here. Ascending channel, so a potential reversal that can happen in the market. So I'll certainly be waiting for that, waiting for a little bit more development, and looking to see that bearish move play out in our favor. And last one for the U.S. indices, I like Dow Jones, so U.S. World 30 or Dow Jones, however you want to call it. Same idea here. We have that ascending channel where again the price has been this top of the overall price. You can even try to say this is some sort of structure going on like this, some sort of ascending channel on a higher time frame. But clearly here on the top, we're getting similar price action. So ascending channel moving the price up. We have an impulsive break to the downside. and potentially this can be a continuation. We're not sure yet. And potentially to me, this can be some sort of head and shoulder as well. So I like overall price. I think S&P 500, Nasdaq, and Dow Jones, they're all looking pretty good. But I personally have an order for S&P, and we'll see how that play out in the upcoming hours or days. But like I said, this is all about risk management. If this position doesn't come down and tag me in, then there's no trade, right? I don't enter this position. If this is going to form some sort of continuation, go higher, then I'm not going to be tagging into the trade. Okay, it's that simple. But I do favor that bearish outlook, the bearish momentum, and the bearish potential drop from the overall higher time frame structure and multi-time frame analysis. Any question on the US indices, guys? Any question here? So I will go over gold. I will go over Forex pair as well. We'll see how it goes. But I want to finish the indices first. So any question, guys, let me know here. There's a few more other indices that I'm also kind of interesting. I'll kind of briefly go over those. Aussie 200. So Aussie 200, we're in this larger, again, continuation correction. I'm sorry, a larger higher time frame correction. Not continuation. It's just a correction on its own. And I was looking to see if this bearish move is going to lead into any kind of more further bearish opportunities. Not too big of a fan when I see this type of kind of reversal impulse up, kind of looking followed by a continuation. I don't like that. Before I sleep, when I was looking at this, I was looking to see if that's going to be a continuation downwards. But never say never, because we can still form some sort of head and shoulder, left shoulder ahead, right shoulder potentially moving down and completing this overall higher time frame larger correction. And we see that we're not yet at the top here, but we're very, very close. So this could be a double top here, could be not. We don't know yet. This can push up one more time before it drop. Again, we don't know that yet. That's why, again, confirmation is really key. Right? We're not going to just blindly enter a sell here or anything. We want to wait for just a little bit more development for the price. That's going to help us to able to get in on a position if it develops into our favor. And Euro 50 is another one someone asked me to do an update on. And I like how we have this double top right here. We have similar ascending channel we see across the board. And this continuation moving up is somewhat impulsive within, but it's still within this larger kind of ascending channel. And you can see that there is this latest push to the upside, followed by a reversal impulse. Remember, when we talk about this reversal impulse, it's really strong, really powerful. We have a bullish push up followed by a reversal impulse. And if there's a continuation correction here, likely we can see a breakout. And again, we're seeing that head and shoulder. Right? So it's about multi-time frame analysis, combining all the structures and patterns that you see and look for an edge that will play out in your favor. If you're not comfortable maybe entering here, you can enter when the price breaks out and then followed by a continuation as well. I think that's no problem with that either. Okay, so that is Euro 50. All right, so that is all the indices I'm looking at for today. Like I said, S&P is my favorite, and then Nasdaq second, and then Dow Jones. Of course, I'm only going to take one of them, right? I'm only going to take one of the indices. There's no point taking all of them because, again, risk management. Taking all of them, if they all work out, sure, you get more profit, but if they all doesn't work out, they likely to all reverse together, and you're going to take 3 losses in a row, which is not in my trading plan. So I'm just going to focus on one that's going to shape up to be the best. All right. Hello, everyone. Good. China 50. Not seeing too much here, but I like how there is a correction here. This is clearly a bearish impulse, and this is clearly some sort of continuation correction, or just a correction in the nature. We're not 100% sure yet. Preferably this move up to here. even just breaking above this high a little bit and then push down from there and then continue making this a continuation correction. That's something I would like to see, but it's a little bit too early yet. It looks like we're going to consolidate here for a little bit longer. Okay, so best to just kind of wait and see what will happen in this area. Okay. So I'm gonna indices, I'm gonna go into currency actually, and then commodity, and then last crypto because I really don't see much in crypto. So I'm gonna leave crypto last. I really don't see much in crypto because I really don't. I only see probably only one, which is Binance Coin. Binance Coin is probably the only thing I'm looking at. Every other coins I don't look, they don't look bullish to me at all, and I'm not looking to sell crypto. The only one that looks clear to me is Binance Coin. Binance Coin clearly had that large continuation. We break up to the upside. So very strong impulsive move, and then looking like we have another continuation. We broke out that continuation, so I'm expecting a lower time frame continuation. That is the only crypto I'm looking at. It doesn't look bullish to me, and I'm not looking to sell crypto as I say. So this is the only crypto I'm looking at for today. Okay, only Binance Coin, only one trade if it happens. If it not, I move on to other things. All right, so we went over indices, we went over one crypto. Let's go into the currency market now. Let's talk about the currency market, and then we'll start with dollar index, and then we'll take it from there. If you have any Forex pair you want me to go over, I'm happy to go over them. So I will start with dollar index, and then as we go on and any other pairs we come out, we can talk about them. So dollar index, what do I see on dollar index? Well, we want to see what will happen in this move here because there is a bearish move to the downside, good, but it's kind of looking like there is a bullish reversal now. We're not sure what's going to happen here. There is potentially some structure here, or you can see the structure like this. Either way, it's not complete yet. Either way, there is can be more development from the price. That is kind of how I see currently. So I want to see how it will happen if it's going to form some sort of continuation like this, and we're just going to get more bullish price action from the price. Because this move down here looks like a descending channel to me. Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be a continuation now because it broke this, but now it could be potentially another low from the price, and we can continue. That's one thing. And in the weekly outlook I also mentioned the possibility that we can just push up correctively and form a head and shoulder and drop. Okay, so that's kind of what I see on dollar index at the moment. Okay, again, it's not too clear to me in my eye. I'm not seeing too much right now, but we'll see how this higher time frame develop. We'll see how this move. Is it going to continue downwards more? I doubt it's going to drop like this without another correction first. That's kind of what I mentioned about the head and shoulder. But if this is going to be just a correction for the upside, then expect a push out and then further correction to continue the price upwards. So that's kind of what I see at the moment. All right. So let's go through a few dollar position. I am in one of the dollar position, which I will go over after. But let's take a look at a few dollar position. So I do want to talk about what is happening here. I think a lot of us are kind of looking at this and kind of have no clue on what is happening. I do want to look into a little bit deeper, and this is kind of what I look at right now. Okay, so we have this move to the upside, followed by a correction. Looks like it's going to push up more, but this is forming into this kind of reversal impulse now. If you look closely here, what the price is doing is we have an impulse correction, impulse up, and then no continuation. Instead, it's a reversal impulse. And looks like we're consolidating here. So if it consolidated into a correction, then expect this to be a head and shoulder pattern. It's that simple, right? If there's a little bit more clue here in this part because this is just a smaller version of head and shoulder and within this larger head and shoulder that is potentially developing. Okay, so that's the clue for the market in my opinion. That's why multi-time frame analysis is really important because When I saw a lot of people talking about buy, and I agree when price push up followed by a correction, it is valid for another buy. But once price could not push higher, when a price could not push higher and then it forms a lower time frame head and shoulder within this larger head and shoulder, that is a clue from the price. That is kind of how I see it currently. So I do expect a bearish move from the price eventually. That's kind of what I'm looking at right now. And even though there's really no structure here, you can try to be like this is a correction or structure, kind of more slanted like this way. That is one way of looking at it, right? You can see this as a potential kind of a channel or flag correction, similar like this. Okay, and if this head and shoulder plays out, I expect this to break the low and continue lower like that. Okay, so patient is key here. Patient is key because you want to wait for some sort of development here to give you a little bit more confirmation that this is going to be that head and shoulder and drop down afterwards. Okay, so I am going over Aussie dollar, right? And I will go over Kiwi dollar. I will go over gold after I finish all the currency pair, guys. Okay, so from YouTube, I'll go over pound yen. I'll definitely go over pound yen. Um, BNB, I talked about that already. Like I said, Binance Coin is the only one I'm looking at for today. As long as I get some sort of continuation here, that's the only crypto I'm looking at for today. Dollar CAD, I'll go over that after. So let's continue. Let's continue. Any question, guys? Just throw it in there. I'll try to answer it. If I already spoke about it, and I'll mention that as well. Okay. So. So let's continue to Kiwi Dollar. I think Kiwi Dollar is going to be relatively the same. Okay, relatively the same as Aussie Dollar. We went over that Aussie Dollar position, and it's going to be really similar. If you look at here, is that we have this bullish push out kind of looking followed by a correction. We push up again, and it looks like there is a smaller version of head and shoulder right now in the developing. Kind of slower than Aussie dollar. If you look at Aussie dollar, it already formed that head and shoulder. It's now forming that larger head and shoulders right shoulder. Okay, whereas Kiwi dollar, it looks like we're still forming that smaller head and shoulder first. And if this drops down followed by a bigger correction, then it completes a larger head and shoulder as well. Okay, so these are all clues, right? The clues for the market for us to capitalize on them because it's already telling us that the bullish move is kind of exhausted, right? The bullish move is exhausted after this push up. There is just that reversal impulse in the market, and it's clearly showing us right now. And again, you can kind of try to put a structure like this. I think that's okay as well. Kind of more steeper channel, but this is still an impulse correction, and still looking for the next impulse and continuation. All right, so that's Kiwi dollar for me. Very similar like Aussie dollar, and I think Aussie dollar is just a little bit quicker than Kiwi dollar at this moment. All right. So let's move on to other ones. Let's move on to Euro dollar because this is a trade I'm currently in. So I'm in Euro dollar. I talk about this in my Telegram. I talk about this when I update everyone. I thought is actually looking pretty good for some sort of continuation. If we just zoom out here, looking at the price, I see that we have this strong kind of ascending channel moving the price up. We have impulse correction, we impulse down. And originally was looking at this to continue, and then when this price started climbing up in this steep kind of ascending channel, there is a potential expanding structure that I'm looking at. So expanding structure, as we know, they're a little bit more advanced, but to me, because the higher time frame look to me is bearish, so I'm looking for a potential sell. And originally my plan was to wait for a breakout from this channel and followed by a continuation, making this that head and shoulder pattern. But it looks like this is the same kind of like in the Aussie dollar and Kiwi dollar position, right? We have that head and shoulder pattern. So I was looking at this right shoulder. I'm fine with entry like this. I'm fine with the risk that's in there. The higher time frame give me enough bias, and I like the lower time frame expanding structure. We broke the high here and in a ascending channel as well, and head and shoulder here. So that's all my confluence personally to look for this out. And just to see if this is going to continue breakout followed by continuation, that is something that I'll be looking for and looking to get in on this. If that happens, then look to scale in the position. That would be nice as well to trade down to the lows. Okay, so that is euro dollar right now. Do like euro dollar. It's probably the only dollar position that I'm going to execute or to plan to hold. I will go over pound dollar. I think they're pretty similar. I was kind of choosing between pound dollar and euro dollar. Ultimately choose euro dollar instead. So overall, I like the move. I like that potential. I have lots of risks, almost 11 to 1 down to this low. Again, anything can happen halfway, of course. If it closes down and start forming bullish price action, then I'll obviously look to exit, right? But I like that we're getting in at the top of the overall price action. There's a lot of room to the downside. We're at the beginning of this potential next impulsive run, right? So that's euro dollar. I want to go over pound dollar. I think some of us are looking at pound dollar as well. I personally is looking at pound dollar. I'm also looking at pound dollar for a potential sell. All right, so let's take a look. So pound dollar had this bullish push up to the upside, right? And that's kind of how, at the time when I was looking at the structure, I had it like this. And I was looking to see if this is going to break down and continue downwards. So that did not happen. That did not happen. But when this price pushes to the upside and I see that there is a strong bullish impulse, but it's not followed by a continuation. Remember, when we look at price action, when we see an impulsive phase, and if it's not followed by continuation, and it's not even really followed by a reversal, it's just going to drop down from there. That to me is a reversal impulse. And reversal impulse are very strong because it's a good indication that whatever the previous move is exhausted, and we might see that big reversal for the price. And this is also the previous high as well. You can see this as a double top or triple top, whatever you prefer to call it. But to me, double top here. And on the lower time frame, we have this impulse down, kind of followed by a correction here. So kind of waiting to see what it will happen in this area. Is it going to form a continuation? Looks like it is when we push down, but looking to see what will happen in this New York session. Is it going to develop into a little bit bigger structure and then still move down? Or this bearish kind of correction may or may not be valid. We're not sure yet. Okay, so but I was choosing between this one and euro dollar, so I end up choosing with euro dollar instead. Just had a little bit more confluence in my eye that was looking better, so I just opted with euro dollar. But I think pound dollar is fine as well. This move right here is going to determine are we going to get further downside from the price or not. Okay, so I will watch out for this area here for any potential bearish move. Okay, so any questions so far on the dollar positions or anything like that? I already went over Aussie dollar, my friend. I'm not gonna go over again. I went over like 2 minutes ago, right? So I want to talk about dollar CAD. Looks like dollar CAD had a big drop. I'm not sure any of you guys are in dollar CAD or whatever. This is probably because of the news, right? I don't even pay attention to news, but let's see if there is news here. So there is some CAD news here, right? Rate announcement maybe. So yeah, but if you're in a trade, make sure you have risk management, right? You make sure you have good stop loss or whatever. I personally was waiting for that breakout for the price, right? I think I mentioned this in my Telegram. I wasn't interested to enter here or anything like that. I want to enter when the higher time frame correction completes. Okay, so looks like we are dropping down more, but it's still within this correction, right? So anything can happen, of course, and if we're going to get further upside from the price, then further upside could happen even though we push to the downside and then still resume upwards. Remember, I made a video about this type of scenario, right? The news does create some volatility, but as long as we're still in this correction, as long as we're still in this higher time frame descending channel, then the potential bullish move can still happen, right? We can still get a potential reversal from here. We bullishly break out of this descending channel and continuation correction to go. Okay, so watch out for that. I'm still keeping an eye on this. All right. So that's dollar CAD. We'll talk about dollar yen. Dollar yen is another pair that I've been closely watching. This is a prime example of, when we didn't break out of that higher time frame structure. This is the higher time frame daily structure that we see the price in, and that is that false breakout that I keep telling everyone, right? False breakout here is not followed by continuation, and then price pretty much just reversal downwards. So when I see these kind of price, when I see that there is a potential left shoulder here, impulse, reversal impulse, is if it's followed by some sort of continuation, then I will look to potentially enter a sell down to the lows. Right, head and shoulder at the top of the overall structure. We have this false breakout, no continuation to go higher, and reversal impulse down followed by continuation, looking for the next impulsive move. Okay, so I do like this one. I do like this one for it's not ready yet. I think it's gonna be ready maybe next couple of days. We don't know yet, but we'll see how it goes. So any questions so far on these dollar positions? I think I went over all the dollar ones that was requested, and like I said, the dollar ones that I'm looking at is only euro dollar that I'm in. I already set an alert here, so if this pushes up here, I will take a break even here, and then I'll wait to see if the price will break down more and continue. Okay, so that's kind of my plan currently right now. All right. I already went over Aussie dollar. I don't know why you asked me again, right? You were here when I talk about Aussie dollar, right? I went over this like twice already, but like I said, this is a head and shoulder pattern that I see. This could be a right shoulder, this could be a right shoulder, and this is that smaller head and shoulder that I talk about. So I like how this potentially could be that reversal we're looking for. There is a strong bullish push off on the price and then a reversal impulse. So I'll wait and see if this is going to be a continuation correction to push down lower. So let's talk about a few other yen pairs now. I think some of you guys are in a few of the yen pairs. So let's take a look at a few yen pairs. Why do you pick euro dollar more than others? It just had the better confluence in my eye. I like how we have actually a correction, expanding structure, and we have an ascending channel within the larger correction, and there is a head and shoulder as well. So when you try to compare a few dollar positions, it's best to look at which one has give you a little bit more confluence, a little bit positive bearish confluence if you're looking for a sell, and that's kind of how I decided on. Aussie yen. So Aussie yen, I think some of you guys got in on Aussie yen. I keep hearing you guys got in on Aussie yen here in my Telegram. So good job if you get in. This is clearly an impulse followed by a reversal impulse, right? So that is a continuation correction. So impulse, correction, impulse down. Is this going to form something here? We don't know yet, right? We're at the bottom of this current correction that I point out here. So anything can happen here, of course, right? We can just either form a reversal and then we push up again, or this is going to consolidate here a little bit longer and then drop. We don't know that yet, right? So the only thing we can control is our management. So if you get in on the trade, you should already set it to break even or even maybe some profit, and you want to see how this correction will move or how it will form. It's best. I mean, Of course, we want to form a continuation and we just continue drop down to the lows. But remember, we can control the market. So if it's going to reverse up from here, it's going to reverse up from here, right? And we're just going to take our stop. We're going to earn a little bit more profit. If it just goes up to the top here, structurally nothing changes. All we need to do now is still looking for that bearish reversal from the top. Still looking for this as a double top and then bearish reversal downwards. Okay, so always have a plan, always have a plan management, how you're going to exit, how you're going to manage. I just been getting too many people messaging me about what should I do? I'm in this position, what should I do? And I always ask them, well, what's your plan, right? When you enter a position, do you not have stop loss? Do you not have a management? Do you not know what you're planning to do with that particular position? Because that's not very good. Um, that's not a very good entry if you don't consider what you're going to do afterwards, right? Because if you don't have anything right down, you don't have a management plan, then you're just making emotional decisions. And I always talk about trading, the demise of people failing in trading is because they make emotional decisions, right? So remove that emotional decision, have a plan, write it out, or put it on your journal or whatever it is, making sure you have a plan so that you don't make emotional decisions. It's that simple. Once you fully understand that, trading just will be a lot easier. It won't be stressful. It won't be emotional because you're simply just following a plan. Okay. So let's talk about a couple other yen pairs. Euro yen is another pair that I want to talk about. So let's talk about Euro yen here. I also talk about Euro yen could be something. I like how there is a kind of a lower time frame double top. There's a correction here. Looks like an expanding correction. It's a little bit hard to tell, but few swing highs and few swing lows. That's good. We're waiting for the breakout, right? Again, this doesn't mean like it's breakout. This doesn't mean it's a breakout. We want a confirmation bearish breakout and confirmation bearish continuation. That is something that we want to look for in order to get in on a potential sell position like so. Okay, so I want to wait and see because there's a few yen pairs all kind of shaping up. I'm not in any of the yen pairs, but I will look to get in. And I'm picking through which one's going to give me the best kind of potential entries. Again, it's the same as picking through the dollar positions, right? Looking at pound yen, I think pound yen is just as equally good. I was looking at pound yen uh, also, right? I think pound yen is also something good. Um, I like how we have this kind of a bullish push up to the upside. If we can look closely, bullish push up to the upside again, it's kind of followed by a reversal impulse, right? So impulse up, reversal impulse. Is there going to be some sort of continuation correction here? We'll have to wait and see, right? This is developing here. There's consolidation here, which is good. Ultimately is to look for a bearish kind of continuation, break out of this larger expanding structure, and continuation down further. Okay. How do you form a strategy or trading plan? How do you plan out your trade? I made several videos on this. So on my YouTube, you can go to playlists. I think I have intro to trading. There is trading plan. There is how you do forecasting daily and things like that. You can watch all these videos. How to journal your trades. I think these are all important as well. You can go through some of my psychology videos about what I just talked about, emotion, revenge trading, fear of missing out, over leverage, things like that. You should probably watch some of these. That will help you to create a better trading plan, understanding why we don't make emotional decisions, why we stick to a trading plan so that uh, we don't let the market control us. Okay. So that is pound yen. Okay, any question on pound yen? I think several of you guys asked me about pound yen. So that's kind of what I see on pound yen right now. All right. Kiwi is the last yen I really want to go over. Looks like we could be something here as well. Um, Similar kind of structure like Aussie yen. If you look closely, this kind of similar kind of structure that we're looking at right now. Um, I was also looking at this because I'm looking at this to see that if we can get some sort of continuation out in the lower time frame correction, I think this is valid. I like how we have a really big impulsive phrase followed by some sort of continuation. And there could be a head and shoulder here. Okay, this right shoulder should develop and give us that breakout on the price, and then lower time frame continuation down to the lows here. That's something I will be looking at as well. So again, I'm not in any of the yen pairs, and I'm not looking to get in on them until I see a little bit more development. I think pound yen ultimately is my favorite yen here among these yen pairs I just went over. Pound yen just has that really clear kind of large head and shoulder pattern in the making. That's one. Expanding structure and then impulse, reversal impulse, and we're at the top of the overall price action as well. So all that really adds up to my bearish bias on this. Higher time frame looks, the head and shoulder looks a lot more clear now, right? So that's what I see on the yen pairs. So any questions so far? And I'm gonna move on to just the two more Swiss pairs I'm looking at. So CAD Swiss, before the news was looking good, I was looking at this as a potential continuation. So we have bearish impulse followed by a continuation, and it was looking pretty clean to break out more. So how do I view when the news happens? Well, again, it's a similar like dollar CAD when we went over earlier, right? Can this be a bigger correction? Absolutely. Can we see this as a bigger correction? Yes, we can. Because yes, we have the news popping out, but as long as we're still contained with this correction, if this move up to here and then just reverse back down, then nothing changes from a price action point of view. All we're doing now is just an impulse correction or impulse down. That is all we're doing. I don't see any other difference except the correction or structure just expanding into something bigger, and the overall nature of the market doesn't change. Okay, so that's kind of what I see. Euro Kiwi, sure. So Euro Kiwi, I saw someone posting something like this. I remember I couldn't recall how you draw the structure. Personally, I'm not really interested in Euro Kiwi because I'm kind of looking at this that this can be still a correction on its own. So there's a few swing highs and a few swing lows. The price is somewhat contained in this correction here, right? And I'm kind of waiting to see if this is going to be a continuation or if this is going to be a low here and this is just kind of like a bullish impulse up and this is a larger correction before the next upside. Again, this is when it comes to analysis, there's no right or wrong. Okay, I might be looking at this because I'm looking at this as an impulse correction, impulse, and this could be a larger correction to go. That's my bias. But other people may look at this as an impulse down followed by a correction to go lower. So who's right and who's wrong? Neither of us. Okay, this is what I always try to teach and everyone is understanding that there is no just one way of analyzing the market. If you're looking at this move to sell and you feel like this is a potential sell opportunity, then execute it, right? Execute it according to your plan. Make sure you have good entry, good stop loss, and good target if that fits your plan, right? There's nothing wrong with you or any others trading an analysis that doesn't fit other people's analysis. We're not always going to look at the market equally, okay? And this is why I emphasize so much on making your own plan, creating your own analysis, and follow your plan accordingly. I emphasize that every single time because I'm not right all the time on forecasts, right? I can be wrong too, but if my forecast is wrong and if the price doesn't develop into something I want to see, then I don't enter, right? It's that simple, right? But whereas if you're looking for a trade like this to sell and that fits your plan to sell, then execute it. Otherwise, simply following others, following signals, following others' opinion, in the long run, it's not going to help you. It really isn't because it'll just create a conflict of interest. Like in this example here, I'm talking about I will be looking for a buy if I break off on here and continue. That's my bias. and maybe your bias is looking for a sell, then who do you listen to? Do you listen to yourself? Do you listen to me? Do you follow other people's signal? Do you look at other people's analysis? How does that work, right? No one is right and no one is wrong. So I emphasize on building confidence in yourself, building and backtesting the strategy so that you're comfortable at executing the trade without worry about it, right? I made a video about backtesting on Monday talking about why we backtest and why we do backtesting so that we remove fear of missing out and we remove fear of losing, right? People often they have a plan to execute, at the end they didn't execute, and then the trade planned out, and they're like, oh my god, why didn't I execute? And they start kind of blaming others. Yeah, I shouldn't be listening to this guy, I shouldn't be following him, or I should have followed my plan. Well, if you backtest enough, then you will follow your plan because you see your move play out over and over again, and that's going to help you to be consistent in the long run. Okay, so that's really my honest opinion, feedback to everyone who are still struggling to find consistency. Okay, you don't need to look at others, right? Focus on yourself, focus on your own analysis, and that's gonna help you to be a better trader. Okay. Cat Yen, it wasn't really interested in Cat Yen. It wasn't really on my watch list. I was looking at this to see if this is going to be some sort of head and shoulder, but it really did not look like it was, and I didn't really like this move to the downside. Like I didn't really see this as a sell position, to be honest. Like I don't know how you guys view it, but I didn't really see this as a sell position. I really didn't see a sell at all, really. Like I didn't see an entry here. But price pushes downside, breaking this previous low, and then the news came out to pop to the upside. So what do I see this now? Well, really, I don't see much here. We looks like it just broke the previous low and popped to the upside. We don't know how this move is it going to continue, or are we going to see some sort of bearish drop down? We don't know yet, right? So that's why it's not on my watch list because I'm not really seeing a clear kind of direction or a clear bias at this moment. I think Aussie yen, Euro yen, and pound yen, they look a little bit better in terms of the bearish move, the strength in yen. That's why I'm kind of highlighting them and go over them like that. Okay. Rate announcement, yeah. Sometimes there's news events, sometimes there are things like that, right? So you can always go on this Forex factory if you want to make sure you either avoid the news or be aware of news. This is the best way to do it. So let's continue. I want to go over pound Swiss because pound Swiss is a position I'm in right now. Okay, so pound Swiss, I was looking at this trade. I took a trade here, if you guys recall last week. I got 0.5% profit, if I recall. I got 0.5% profit here, and I was looking, and I mentioned this as well. I was looking to get back into the trade as well if I see a good bearish continuation. So overall, same bias, right? Same kind of higher time frame bias, and we have this kind of rising wedge or ascending channel. First bearish breakdown, looking like there's a consolidation here for a potential continuation, and that is how I look for this trade. And on the lower time frame, I like how previously I had the structure draw kind of like this. We push to the downside, followed by an impulse up. And instead of continuation to go higher, this looks to me is a reversal impulse. Reversal impulse down look like it's followed by some sort of correction here. So I just out in with the entry order here and set the stop loss above the high. And we'll see how it goes, right? So during this New York session, kind of just popped to the upside. That's fine. I'm not going to adjust anything. I set my stop loss above the high. If it take me out, take me out. I'll just take 1% loss, right? It's that simple. What I noticed from a lot of new traders is when something like this happens, they start moving their stop loss higher and higher in hope that the price will turn around. Okay, sometimes it may not work, but what if this price just continue push higher and you're at 2%, 3%, 4%, 5% loss? And when you're at this area, what do you do now? Do you close the trade or do you let it hopefully turn back? And you're hoping it turn back, right? So this is how a lot of new traders typically break below their account is because of something like this. Okay, so management, risk management 101, right? Set your stop loss, set it at 1%, right? Losing 1%, so what, right? You gain a lot back in order to trade anyways. It's when something like this happen. It's when something like this happen when the trader keep moving their stop loss higher and higher, and that's how they deplete their account so fast. And then only to see when they push higher, they can't handle it anymore, they sell here, only to see a huge drop down, and then that creates so much emotional drama in their self. Okay, it's not simple, guys, right? Work on your emotion, work on your trading psychology. It's going to help you to be a way better trader. Okay, if you're struggling to find consistency, this is exactly why, right? You see, when I enter a position, I already accepted the fact that this position can go to a loss. And I'm fine taking a loss here. It's all I'm saying is I'm fine taking a loss here. I will move on. And if the trade pushes to the upside, forms up to a double top and push down, I will be interested again, right? But I'm not going to move my stop loss. I'm not going to hope the trade will turn back in my favor, right? Hoping in the market is the worst thing you can do because it will never work. Okay, so trust your plan, trust your analysis, watch how it happens, and then adjust your management accordingly. Okay, so same idea on pound Swiss. I'm looking for that continuation here, and then looking for the previous low. Again, I understand the risk reward. I understand what I'm doing. Same thing as euro dollar position. I understanding the potential rewards. I'm fine entering a position like this. So same idea as pound Swiss. I'm fine entering a position like this, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. My stop seems wide. I don't think so. What do you mean by wide? Are you? It's a 45 pip stop loss. I think that's pretty tight actually for pound pairs. Pound pairs I usually even go higher because of the potential move. So how do you manage risk? You cap your risk at 1%, right? It doesn't matter my stop loss is wide or tight because you can calculate your position size according to your stop loss, right? So I can have a 200 pip stop loss with 1% loss. I can have a 40% stop loss with 1% loss, right? You control it by your position size, okay? Kiwi, not really see much, but I do agree something can happen here. So we have this kind of a double topping area. Pound Kiwi is dropping, okay, but it's not dropping out of this potential correction here. So I'm still kind of waiting to see if this move will play out and then continue lower. Okay, you can see how it just kind of bounced off from this potential bottom here, push to the upside, and nothing is quite clear yet. Okay, looks like there's a head and shoulder. I think that's a good point that we're looking, but I didn't see the price break this previous low, right? The previous low of this correction. So I will still wait for that strong breakout followed by continuation. That is something I will look to see or look to get from the price, actually. That's what I meant. I don't use any indicators or anything like that for risk management. Why do you need indicator for risk management? Your risk management comes down to your risk on your trades, right? How you enter a trade, how big of a position you enter, and how much risk you take, right? That's not really any indicators. At least I don't need indicators to do that. Goods for scalping. Well, good thing is I don't plan to scalp and I don't do scalping. I think scalping is not good for new traders or beginner traders because again they're not too familiar with risk management and they don't have a very good psychological mind when it comes to scalping. I've no doubt there is professional people who scalp and make success on it, but I think new traders shouldn't scalp because it's easy for them to blow their accounts. They don't understand how much to risk, and the emotion side of things is something that they haven't considered or not aware of when it comes to scalping. You can easily enter a bunch of positions in here and then just take a few trades to grow your account. Whether or not they understand risking 1% or risking a certain amount, whether they understand stop loss and things like that, whether they understand take profit. In scalping, take profit is really important, right? But a lot of new traders don't take profit because they want to hold their big position from the top to the bottom. Usually gets pulled back and then resulting in a less profit than they would originally want to get. So I'm not saying you're scalping. I'm not saying you're a beginner. I'm just saying based on what your comment is. It's good that you. That's good that you find success. I'm happy for you. Good for you, buddy. Why you don't follow daily chart? I absolutely do. What do you mean by that? I always follow daily chart. I always do from higher time frame. If you always hear me talk, I always talk about higher time frame analysis. I always talk about higher time frame before I go down to the lower time frame if I'm in the entry. It's just that when I already talk about all these pairs in the weekly outlook, right? So I'm not really flipping back to my higher time frame. So it's the same, right? I'm not just using one time frame. It's multi time frame analysis. We start from higher time frame. We have a good bias. We understand where the potential of the market is going. We go down to the lower time frame and to look for possible confirmation, to look for possible entries. That's what we do. So that's it. Any question here before I move on to gold? I think there's some questions on gold. I'll go over gold. Um, in David, how you got burned from pound Swiss and oil got stopped out going my direction. I was long. How do I play stops safer? And also, how do I time a better entry? I made several videos on this topic. If you're interested, it's in my YouTube risk management entries and exit. 3 entries in the impulsive phrase, how to set take profit, how to set stop loss. It's all here. If you're interested, you can watch them. Okay. Regarding oil, if you're looking for long, I'm actually looking for sell actually. The overall sell bias looks a little bit more clear to me. In terms of oil, I like how we have an impulsive move down. This can be some sort of larger continuation. It looks like we are in this area where we can potentially looking for further continuation. That's kind of how I look at it. So, okay. Oh, thanks a lot, Redeem. I appreciate this. Thank you so much. Love watching the same opinion. Great, of course. Nicely done. Lovely to hear. Looks like my. Let me just double check here. Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. So let's move on to oil. We talk about oil. Let's talk about gold. I think some of you guys are asking about gold. How do you recommend trading gold? Trade it just the same as how we trade Forex or any other pairs. I don't think there's any difference between gold or anything. They're all part of the market, right? It's just a different market, but price action itself, it's the same. Nothing changes in different market or whatever. I think I mentioned this in the weekly outlook that I keep still watching out for this area for gold. Not really seeing a buy or sell. Okay, this is still a crucial area in my opinion to watch out for. We broke this previous high, yes, and it's kind of what the area that I mentioned is if it break the previous high, if there is some sort of continuation, This could lead to the high here, but I'm really not seeing a continuation. This is kind of the point I'm trying to make is I'm not really seeing this as a continuation. And really, in fact, I'm not seeing I'm not seeing a bullish continuation yet, right? It's supposed to develop into a continuation if you're looking for a bullish bias. Whereas I'm looking at this, I'm like, well, if this move push up and it start correcting like this, that is more of a ascending channel, more of a bearish reversal downwards. Okay, this is why patience is key. There is really no setup here, at least in my eye, to be looking for the buy. Okay, I don't see the buy right now. I'm more leaning towards to see this might develop as some sort of reversal, and we're reversing from the top of this correction and potentially going down because this move down here is still very fierce, right? Impulse, correction, impulse. This can just be a larger correction before the next down move. Okay, so that's kind of what I see on gold right now. I just don't see the buy at the moment. I don't mean that it won't happen or anything. It's just at this current moment, I'm really not seeing a buy correction, right? You want to buy, look for a correction that's going to give you a better buy opportunity, better position, and a better trade to the upside. Okay, so but if that doesn't happen, then expect more consolidation here, like I said, and potentially this can drop down more. Okay, so that is kind of how I see on gold at the moment. Any question on here, guys? So that is pretty much it. There's really not much in talk about in crypto. You might join me a little bit later, but I really don't see much in crypto, at least for any potential buy or anything. I really only see Binance Coin is the only really buy that I think that could happen, right? We talk about Binance Coin pretty much every sessions. Um, that we have this bullish breakout on the price. So this is one of the trades that I took from this higher time frame breakout, continuation, and continue upwards. And it looks clean because now that we break up to the upside and there is some sort of continuation again. Right, this looks like another continuation and we broke out. If there's lower time frame continuation here, I do think this is an entry that I will take and it's very valid as well. But I also understand that if this move to the upside can just push down one more time like this and then still go up after. There's a tendency of that. Okay, so don't forget about that. Okay, there's a tendency that price can just consolidate here and push up. It just couldn't break the top. Went back down to the lows here, form a double bottom here, and then continue with a larger structure. Okay, so that is what I see on Binance Coin. I don't see much in other crypto. They're pretty much all dropping, right? At least to me, during this last weekend, they had a pretty bearish drop for pretty much on all the crypto, if I'm not mistaken, right? So you can see Bitcoin here. We had a really sharp bearish drop here, and it's consolidating here, which is what also kind of shows me that this can lead into some sort of bearish continuation, and this can go down further. Okay, so that is something that I will be keeping an eye on and keeping an eye on potential move. Okay. But again, my plan. This is my plan. I'm not really looking to sell crypto. That's just really in my plan. I don't really plan to sell crypto. I'd rather wait for a bullish opportunity because the bullish opportunity is more long term, right? Usually these bearish opportunities are somewhat short term, and that doesn't really fit my plan. Especially for crypto, I just like to hold the trade a little bit longer. If it gives me the opportunity to hold the trade longer, and then take it from there. Okay. I do want to talk about Ripple. I think Ripple could be something, but again, I would want to see this correction completes and a strong breakout for the price and continuation. That is something that I will look forward to execute. But if that doesn't happen, then no trade for me, right? As I always say, this is exactly why we wait for confirmation and we need to have patience on our side. Is entering here is not wrong. It's just that the correction isn't finished and there's a tendency this can continue to drop down and you're just entering at a very mediocre price. Whereas if we wait for this higher time frame correction finish, right, and followed by lower time frame correction, it's just going to be a better entry, a better, safer entry, and possibly better risk reward as well. Okay, so that's the difference of it, guys, right? Start thinking about why we have trading plan, why we wait for the price to complete, why do we wait for price to give us a potential entry before we just enter whenever we feel like, before we enter based on emotion, enter based on your management and plan. That is the key here. All right. Swing shorting trade on gold. Yeah, possibly. I mean, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how, if this is going to be some sort of continuation to the downside, right? This is looking like from the top here, looking like we're just kind of going down in force, right? Even though on the higher time frame, we're still in this kind of a larger kind of a flag or channel. If this move pushes to the downside, kind of to the bottom here, and if there's a big reversal from the price, I would still look to get in on this. I think this is still a higher time frame continuation correction. And we're at the low, so we'll be buying for the lows. I think that would be nice. Okay, so that's kind of how I see on gold. And that's it for crypto, actually. So pretty fast today, but I think I went over all the positions, or all the pair that people are asking me of. Happy to answer any questions. If you guys have any questions for me, um, let me know if you have any questions on any pairs or any positions. Happy to go over them really quick. Uh, Euro dollar, I just got tagged out for break even. I just got tagged out for break even once it hits the top here. But that's fine. I will look to see if we can just eventually break down here, followed by a continuation. Then I will still look to get it. So again, this is the difference between having a plan, having management, understand what you're looking for before you enter a trade. I emphasize this so much with all the coaching people I've done is you cannot make a decision without a plan, right? You should always write down what you're going to do, or at least remember what you're going to do in your plan when you execute a trade. You shouldn't wait until something happens. You're like, oh shoot, what do I do now? Right? You're kind of just second guessing yourself. If you already have a plan in the beginning, if you already know what you're going to do, then follow it accordingly. It's that simple, right? So, like I said, my plan now is because this trade pulls out to break even and we haven't break out this, then I will wait for a confirmation breakout, confirmation correction. Then I will look to sell from here to the lows. That is my plan, and that is my management behind this particular trade. I'll look forward to the next opportunity that may pop up. Okay. And pound Swiss still in. So pound Swiss still in, like I said, looking to see if this bearish move will continue. And I like the overall price, so I'm happy to be in this position. And that is pretty much the only position I'm running now. I got that euro dollar position out, so I'm only running pound Swiss running. And I do have S&P 500. I'm still having a sell entry here. I'll see if that can play out. And remember, in the beginning, I talk about that if it doesn't play out, if it doesn't break below, then I'm not gonna get tagging on the position, right? So if this continue push to the upside, then no trade for me, right? I'm not tagging in, I'm not in the trade, and I will move on. I will cancel my sell entry position and then take it from there. Okay. What's oil up to? Kind of briefly went over. I'm looking for a sell on oil. That's kind of what I'm doing. I don't know why some of you guys are looking for a buy here. The overall move to me is still bearish. That's to me at least. Looking for some sort of continuation. See if this can push down to the lows. How to sell entry? How to set up entry order is sell limit or sell stop, and what's the perimeter? Okay, here's a good lesson for you. If you're looking for a sell stop means this, right? Price needs to hit it for it to continue. This is a sell stop. A sell limit is when price pulls back, hit this to sell. That's a sell limit. Whereas the buy limit and buy stop is the complete opposite. So if you're looking for a buy stop, this is a buy stop. Price needs to continue upwards, tagging into your price. That's a buy stop. A buy limit is the opposite, right? The price has to pull back to here before it buy. That's a buy limit. Okay, so if you're not sure, you can Google it, but that pretty much explains it all. There's a 4 different limit orders, right? Buy stop, buy limit, sell stop, sell limit. Okay. Euro Kiwi, briefly went over it and kind of made a talk about this. I mentioned that some of you guys are looking for the sell. Good. If that follows your plan, if that suits your plan to sell, go ahead. Nothing wrong with that. I personally is just kind of looking to see what will happen here. That to me, this can be still a bullish push up. This can be a correction here. I want to see if this is going to break below and then kind of invalid this whole thing before I consider anything. That's kind of how I see. But remember, if you have a bias, you have analysis to sell, then go ahead, guys. Don't need to follow me or don't need to make sure I'm on your side. It's not how it works, right? Have your own plan, have your own analysis, follow it accordingly. Okay, so exactly, Noah, exactly what I just mentioned here. If you're looking for a buy, go ahead, right? There's no right and wrong in trading. This is what I keep emphasizing pretty much every stream or every coaching session I have people. If you're looking for a buy, absolutely just look for the buy, right? If don't let other people like myself or any other people influence your decision, right? I'm looking for a sell and I explain my sell bias. Remember, I always say bias because it's not guaranteed, it's not for sure, and it's not right or wrong. Okay, I say bias pretty much every single time I talk about a trade setup because that is my personal bias. It doesn't mean it has to play out. It doesn't mean it has to work, right? It's just my bias, right? But if you have a different analysis and different view, that's totally fine, guys. Remember that, okay? Always remember this. This is why I talk about following signals, following others to trade, asking people what do you think about a trade is not going to work out for a trader in the long run because that person has not learned anything. That trader has not understand that trading is ultimately on your own. Your decision ultimately affects your trading account. You can look at other people talking about a position, and if you don't agree with it in your mind that well this guy has a buy and I have a sell, what should I do now? Well, then you're just stuck in a circle, right? You're not advancing. You need to advance in trading. You need to understand that you need to make your own decision. You need to make your own trading plan. You need to make your own risk management that is suitable for you as a particular trader. There's no point following others. There's no point copying signals because you have no idea of their entries, why they enter, why they exit, what's their management. And eventually, following a person who offers you signals will just create a conflict in your mind because you're going to start looking at the chart and they're like, well, this guy is talking about a sell, but I'm looking for a buy. So what happens now? Like, do you listen to this guy to sell or do you follow your plan to buy? Like, who is right and who is wrong? You see, that is an unhealthy trading journey. Start thinking about that. If you want success, you want consistency, you want sustainability in trading, make your own analysis, make your own plan, make your own management. That's going to help you to be a better trader in the long run. All right. US 30 went over this briefly in the beginning. I am potentially looking for the sell still. This popped to the upside, okay, but I'm still looking to see if we're going to get a bigger correction or something like that to continue. Uh, Looking at the overall price, I like there is a ascending channel though. And I talk about this in the beginning of the stream is that if this correction doesn't complete or this correction doesn't form, then there's no sell for me, right? And it's the same idea on S&P as well and Nasdaq. I think Nasdaq is the same idea. Um, I like S&P first. That's probably my main one, and then Nasdaq, and then Dow Jones. S&P is looking good for a potential sell. And like I said earlier as well, is if it doesn't get triggered, if it doesn't play out, if it doesn't drop, then I'm not gonna get triggered in and I'm away from the trade. Um, Nasdaq, same idea here is we actually broke out this ascending channel. There's a head and shoulder pattern here, double top on the overall price action, and there is an impulse followed by a few correction here. So I do expect this to continue downwards as well. All right. Can I go over Doge? Yeah, but like I said, I'm not really looking at them to be long. Stellar was looking at long. I did take a long position, got off for 1%, and I don't like that currently it's forming some sort of head and shoulder. There is a development here. So I don't like any of these right now because I'm looking for long, right? And I don't see a bullish bias at the moment. Tron, same idea. There's no bullish activity right now, right? And Doge especially, I don't even really want to talk about Doge because to me, this is just going to be some sort of a bigger consolidation that's going to happen, or just going to start falling because of the pump and dump to me. This is just the first initial pump. You can see that there's this already kind of prices falling from this. We'll see if this continue to the low here, if it's going to form a bottom, then this could be creating a bigger correction. But if this breaks below and continue downside, then expect this to continue dropping. That's what I see on them very quickly, but I'm not really seeing much bullish activity on any of the crypto. Why do I choose Oanda for trading? I just been using it for many years. I use it for probably 5, 6 years now. So I'm not doing anything like introducing broker or anything like that. So it's best that everyone choose their broker wisely. Okay, so it's best for you guys to choose the broker wisely yourself. Right, do your own research, try their demo platform, see their customer service, etc., and make a decision on your own. Too many times I hear people talk about they got scammed by the brokers. When I often hear this word scam by the broker, I think there's a few meanings behind it. You can either get scammed by the broker in your own term, meaning like you took a few losses or you think there is, stop loss hunting and you blame the brokers, which I don't really agree, but everyone has their own perception on things. Whereas there's actually people who got scammed by a broker, like they deposit money and they couldn't withdraw or something like that. So I think it's best to do your own research and find out what brokers are better or what brokers work for you better in your respective country, because sometimes different countries doesn't allow certain brokers. So that's what I think. Okay. I do use Oanda, AxiTrader for Forex. For crypto, I use Coinbase, Binance, and Kraken. Pound dollar. Like I said, my bias here, remember bias, so I'm going to repeat that. My bias here is a potential sell. I'm looking at to see if this is going to be a continuation correction here to go lower. It's not quite clear. We're not sure what's going to happen here. So we'll just see if this is going to either turn into a reversal now to go upwards. And I will still pay attention to see this double top here area if it's going to reverse down. Other than that, I'm not really seeing much here. Okay, I know maybe some of you guys are looking at long. That's fine, right? Remember, it's same idea as euro dollar that someone else pointed out, right? I took a break even here. Someone else be making for a potential long, and so be it. That's fine, right? So any other question, guys? I think we're gonna wrap it up very soon here. Have to go. Nice to see you, Radim. Nice to see you. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up very soon here. So, any other questions? Last minute question? I'll happy to answer some. XPT. So I would say Platinum here is still correcting in this larger correction. So this is an impulsive move down. This could be a correction. We don't know yet. So this move can go up. We don't know. It's still in the consolidation. That's why I will kind of wait and see what will happen. This can move up to the top here, double top and start dropping. But it's still in the middle of correction. So I will probably wait and see what will happen in the future. Okay. Can I go over Binance Coin one more time? Sure. So what I see on Binance Coin, like I said, the bullish trend is really strong, right? We have an impulse, correction impulse, right? This is the trade that I got in that I mentioned a few times. Bullish breakout on the price, very, very good. And there is a continuation correction here, right? So impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse. Looking for some sort of lower time frame continuation here to look for a buy. Okay, so that is my plan on this one. Goodbye, Amir. Nice to see you. So that is it, guys. That is all from me. Unless there's other questions, a little bit quicker stream, but that talked about everything I wanted to talk about, and that's about it. So, and remember, today's lesson I went over a few times is make your own analysis and follow your plan. Right? I mentioned this a few times in the stream, and I'll kind of wrap it up on this topic here. Is the how I manage to be a better trader. I don't say I'm the best. I don't say I'm a guru. I hate those terms, but I say how I improve a lot from trading over the years is actually making my own analysis. I think before I'm just like anybody or other person would be like, let's take a look at what this person is saying. Let's say this person is saying that's going to be buying something. And then you're like, okay, yeah, so this person is looking to buy. And then I'll look at my own analysis. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Like, I'm looking for a potential sell now. So it's kind of creating a conflict of interest. Like, I'm thinking about a sell. This guy's talking about buy. So who's right or wrong? I keep thinking, is he right or am I right? And I realize at the end, it's what I said in the beginning is there's no right and there's no wrong in trading, right? He might be looking at a buy for a long term. I might be looking at a sell for a short term, or vice versa. So there really isn't no right or wrong. It's about you as a trader. What's your plan? Because you cannot possibly have a plan that captures every single move. And I think that's a beginner mistake that people usually make is they think their strategy should be able to capture every single move, every single run, every single big drop that in the market. It's not possible, guys. And when you start thinking, well, I'm going to learn more strategy and trying to combine them all, well, that's a big mistake because if you start putting in different type of strategy, and so let's say support resistance, EMA lines, indicator things, and you're trying to pair them all in price action or Elliott wave and things like that, it's just a recipe for disaster because you'll have too many conflicting bias, right? Support resistance, well, I'm supposed to be selling here. EMA line, well, I'm not supposed to trade through this. Indicator says this is at the top, I'm supposed to be selling, right? Blah, 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 blah. There's all these different things happening on the chart. It's just information overload, right? So remove everything, follow a strategy, follow a plan that has worked for you, that you have back tests, that you have find success, that you have seen the successful strike rate from that strategy, and continue to work on it, continue to improve, continue to tweak on it, continue to get better on it, and that's kind of how you to be a better trader, right? So instead of jumping from strategy to strategy, really focus on why you think your strategy isn't working or vice versa. Because have you really done enough backtesting? Have you seen the position play out over and over again and you think that this particular strategy you use isn't working out and you want to move on? Or are you just taking random variable, short-term variable? Maybe you took 2 or 3 losses and right away you conclude the fact that your strategy isn't working. I think that's too little data to jump to that conclusion, right? So think about what I said today. If you rewatch this stream, if it doesn't make sense, because that to me was a game changer, so to speak, when I realized that I no longer look at other people's analysis. I focus on my own analysis. because there's no right and wrong. And he might be looking at long while I might be looking at a sell, and there's no right and wrong. As long as that fits to your plan, your risk management, and your expectation in trading. My expectation, I'm not looking to get some ridiculous return. I'm looking to be consistent, sustainable in the long run. And that's what I've been doing for the last few years. And other people, new traders, they might be like, well, I'm going to be able to make maximum return. So by making maximum return, they're going to be over risking, over leverage, and revenge trading. And that leads into blowing their account and then deposit more money. And then the cycle begins over and over again. And I don't want that, right? I want to be trading for the next 30, 40 years. And I understand how to be able to trade the next 30, 40 years is to not have that get rich quick mindset, that ridiculous return every month. All that somewhat is possible, but it's definitely not possible in a long-term sustainable approach because we're humans, we have emotions, and when you're losing trades, when you're losing big money, that creates an emotional drawn on yourself. All right, everyone. So why don't you use trendline support resistance? I don't use support resistance. I don't use support resistance. I don't use trendline support resistance. The trend lines are really just for me to identify a correction in the making, right? This is an impulsive move. This is a corrective move, and this is an impulsive move, and this is another corrective move. I only use a trend line to frame the structure, to draw in the structures. Okay. If the news go on against an impulsive move, then what should we do? Well, if the news actually happens during the impulsive move, there's not much you can do. Would you agree? If you're already in a trade when the impulsive move happens and the news comes up, and usually when you mean news, it's a high volatile news, like maybe dollar CAD or something, right? So if a news happens, it's going to happen fast. There's really nothing you can do, isn't it? Right? Like if this happens, what could have you done? Like were you going to be on the chart to exit the trades, or what would you have done? Because there's not much you can do, right? All you can do is you set your stop loss, right? If you're in the trade, you set your stop loss and you take 1% loss, and you move on. That is what you can do. You can't control this impulse. You can't control how deep or how long this will be. We can't control how the news will be either, right? So there's nothing we can do except manage it accordingly. Have stop loss, right? People enter trades without stop loss. I was just kind of shocked that a lot of new traders enter without stop loss and things like that. That's a disaster again, right? A recipe for disaster. You need to protect your account by having a stop loss for something like this. So at most, I lose 1%. So what, right? I have other trades that made a lot more return, and I will cover my expenses. That will cover my losses and then more, right? That is how trading is. You're never going to take no losses, right? Any professional, consistent trader will still take losses. It's how you manage the losses and how you cover your losses for your profit. That's what makes you a consistent trader. All right, everyone. So I'm going to wrap it up here. So very happy to see some new faces. Like I said, if you like these streams, you like these contents, you can go on my YouTube. You can learn a lot more from my YouTube. All the playlists is here. All my streams are safe forever. All my streams are safe forever in TradingView as well if you're interested. But on YouTube, you can learn a lot more about price action, risk management, trading psychology, everything related in that aspect that you can learn a lot more from. Okay, and if you want all the contents from me, I always update everyone in my Telegram. So in my Telegram, I post all my links for my streams, all my analysis, all my educational video, all my updates is all going to be here. Okay. So thank you very much, guys. I will chat with you guys all next time, and hope you guys have a good rest of the week. And I will chat with you guys all from the next stream. All right. Thank you very much.